Welcome to the Better Together podcast, where we look for ways we can work together to advance the gospel of Jesus Christ. Today, I have a familiar person with us, Pastor. I think of as chaplain and former colonel in the United States Army after serving for 4 years in the Marines. And so, Chaplain Terry, we appreciate you. We appreciate the service that you've done to our country. First as a Marine, I think for like 4 years.
Yes. And
then you went back as a active duty chaplain. What a life you have truly had, my friend.
I've been blessed, and our folks support from our folks across the denomination, across the states, has been phenomenal. I tell the story, but Desert Storm, I was over there during Christmas.
Yes.
And I got like 85 Christmas cards from Free Will Baptist folks assuring me of their prayers and the support. And they're very good. And man, I had them taped up all over the wall.
Yes.
So, but that's been my story through the years, is that support from Free Will Baptist and people that understand and appreciate the ministry.
Yes. So let's talk about your story a little bit. You were in Desert Storm, and you really, it feels like until recently, were still active duty and serving, and today you're doing what you can to support our military chaplains. But that was a highlight, it sounds like, when all those Christmas cards came in during Desert Storm. Yeah. What were some of the other highlights in this long and really storied ministry that you've had?
Oh boy. I mean, we can go back to the beginning. You know, when you first go in, it's just an amazing thing. You just say, wow, I can't believe I'm part of this.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, I'm a Free Will Baptist pastor in uniform.
Yes.
So I came in, and of course went to Desert Storm within the year after I got in. And then we went to Germany, my family. And we lived in Germany for 3 years. Tremendous. I mean, we would spend on a tank of gas, what most people would spend their life savings for to go on vacations.
Wow.
Driving to see castles or just something like that.
Yes.
But it gave us a great chance. And of course, our missionaries, overseas missionaries, they understand that. Because, even in the States, but you get to see things where you're at.
Right.
And it was just phenomenal. But I was able to go to Korea, go up to the DMZ. That was interesting. Just look over to North Korea and trust me, they're there.
Yeah.
they're like right next to you.
And it's a whole different world in that setting.
It is, yeah. Yeah.
So you've been in a lot of places. You've been all over the world, seen all kinds of folks. You were in Desert Storm. Done some things that most people, like, for example, you've met people that most people only get to read about those folks.
Yeah. Well, I had the opportunity in my last assignment. I served as the Military District of Washington Command Chaplain, and I forget what year it was, but President Trump was there, and I was able to pray for the activity, and of course pray for him. I did get to meet him, and that was just really cool. And we would practice state funerals. Like if we lost a president, we would do all the ceremonies to take care of the events. And I just found myself on Air Force one day, and I'm just pinching myself, saying, "Hey, I'm just a Free Will Baptist pastor, and I get to do this."
That is crazy.
It's so cool.
I remember that a little bit. It's looking, and here you are on C-SPAN. I believe it was Memorial Day.
Yes.
Arlington National Cemetery, and there you are.
Yeah. Scared me to death.
And you prayed twice, didn't you? Didn't you pray at the beginning and the end that day?
I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
I'd have to look.
Yeah, but you've met people. I mean, you met the Speaker of the House. You know all these folks that we read about. You were able to meet them. So those were highlights, weren't they?
Yeah, they were good days. Yeah.
And now you work with our chaplains.
Right.
What's that like as you do this?
Well, it's very good because the military community is different. It has a system that you just kind of learn and stuff. And so if you've been through it, and like Brother Kerry Steedley and other chaplains have been through it, and they take that knowledge to help you get through it because it's challenging in many ways. But we get to support them, just phone calls, encouragement. getting stuff, books, and just keeping them connected. And an important thing is to not let them be forgotten.
Absolutely.
They do. I mean, we constantly push to let them know that they're not forgotten. Bethany keeps in touch with them. I keep in touch with them. Brother David, of course, knows everyone, has met every one of them. And he's an endorser.
Yes.
And Brother David, he's such a tremendous encouragement to all of us.
Yes.
So it's a fulfilling thing, because my job, the way I see it, is that if this is your calling, I'm going to do everything I can to support you in fulfilling your calling to serve Christ. And the military ministry especially, but it takes a special person.
Yeah, to do this.
Not everybody can do it. I mean, everybody's got their gifts and their talents, but it just takes a special person.
Well, we appreciate you doing it, and you talk about it being a special person. You're traveling. We've talked about some of your chaplains, and they end up being medically discharged. So in other words, that means they've been injured. We think about David Trogdon, and he was injured in Iraq, and it's a dangerous thing, isn't it?
Yeah, David got hit by an IED, and he's the only chaplain of ours that wears a Purple Heart.
How about that?
And but great respect for him, for all of them, all the guys. But he was just there doing his ministry, just doing his thing, and you get caught up into something. Mm-hmm. But God blessed, and David's out now, of course, on a medical, and he's doing some ministry down in Florida with horses.
Yeah.
Equestrian.
Yeah.
He found that niche.
Right.
And that niche is also part of his healing.
Yes.
Yes. Because especially with horses, there's a lot of good that comes out of that people, they experience. Yeah.
So it's good for him. It's good for them. So what you're saying is kind of once a chaplain, always a chaplain.
Yeah.
He's still working, and you're still working. Help our listeners understand a little bit why it's so important for us to support our veterans and try to help them, and maybe some of the things they might be able to do to help them out.
Our guys, they're normal like everybody else. They need to be supported.
Yeah.
I mean, don't be afraid of them. They're not going to hurt anybody. They need ministerial support. They need that fellowship. They need that stuff from the church to their family. They have to have it for their own kids and everything. So just being part of our lives, is I keep saying it, but it's a great thing.
Yeah.
But they're part of your community.
Yeah.
Like at Campbell, Fort Campbell in Clarksville.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just disabled veterans license plates all over the place.
Yeah.
And license plates, with retired military and stuff like that. They're in our communities.
Yes.
Strong. They're in our churches, strong. And I know Free Will Baptists have a bunch of heroes sitting in their pews. They've done their time, they served, or they retired. You got the Army, Air Force. I shouldn't do this in public, but Army, Air Force, Navy, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, and now we have the Space Force.
Yes.
And these are some very bright, very intelligent people. And as a chaplain, when you're assigned to that unit, you get to go where they go.
Yeah.
You get to go sit by their desk and talk to them, ask them how they're doing, and your opportunities for evangelism are endless.
Right.
A lot of times you become their friend. You preach it in chapel, they end up coming to chapel. But it's just you find yourself in those areas that's just really exciting. But we need an Air Force chaplain.
Yes.
We have somebody that we're working with about that, but we don't have an Air Force chaplain, which the Space Force will get their chaplains from the Air Force. Mm-hmm. Like the Marine Corps gets their chaplains from the Navy. Uh-huh. They don't have their own separate, branch. Of course, the Army has the Army chaplaincy, but
we need more.
We need more. We just actually lost one of our guys due to medical discharge. But the opportunity for this is endless.
Right.
Masters of Divinity from a certified educational institution and be able to hold a clearance. Don't want to be a criminal.
Right.
And just a desire to do it. Biggest thing's a calling.
Yeah.
If you feel like you're called, that's great. If you feel like you're not called, don't do it.
Right.
It'll destroy your family.
Right, because it's a special thing.
It's special. It's tough, and it's a team effort.
Right.
I mean, it's not an individual effort. It takes everybody in that family to make it possible.
So I've heard you say a lot. We have more chaplains, Real Baptist chaplains, than we've ever had before. Yes. Tracy has recently told us he's going to, he's medically retired, right?
Yes.
And so after 20 plus years of service, but again, that's probably a chaplain like David Trogdon that will continue to minister in some way.
Yeah.
But we also want to be praying who's going to fill those slots, and the Air Force chaplaincy. Maybe if someone's called, basically you're saying they would go through, they would get their training, they need to have an MDiv degree eventually. They could probably sign up ahead of time, but got to get that MDiv, but a wonderful ministry if someone's called into that.
Yeah, there's a program called Chaplain Candidate where you can be a part of that and go to school and minister and get a paycheck until you get your Master of Divinity, and then you can apply to be a chaplain. It's a full chaplain, not a staff specialist. But
it's a wonderful thing.
It is.
Yes. So our listeners are thinking, okay, I need to support our veterans. I need to remind them that we appreciate them. You're also kind of alluding to maybe even as a pastor, honor them in special services and so forth from time to time, letting them know they're not forgotten.
Right.
You mentioned when you were on active duty and in our Desert Storm, the difference, the cards and such that you received. What are other things that we can do to support our active duty personnel?
I always got birthday cards, doing that stuff like that, even personal contact. A lot of pastors ask for chaplains to come preach during like a Veterans Day service.
Uh-huh.
I had to cancel one this year because of my health. But a lot of times we'd go out to them and they would have them stand up in church. If you've been in the Army, stand up. You've been in the Air Force, stand up. And people recognize them and their service. But it is a special thing because when you think about it, you walk away from a life that you know. And some of these guys, and gals are single.
Yeah.
And they leave home for 4 years.
Uh-huh.
And they come back and they start all over again. They give 4 years of their life to their country. Now, I got to tell you, you'll be a better person for doing it.
Yeah.
I really believe, I'm a better person for, going through it. And I guess I never got it right because I stayed so long. but it taught me a lot, and I grew up.
Yeah.
And stuff. But yeah.
Good opportunities. So you're kind of alluding to you're going to have structure. You're going to have folks really helping you and directing you or ordering you. Yeah. Educational opportunities and all the rest of it. But then those of us who are at home, we do not want to forget them.
Yeah.
Do we?
Well, we appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
I like seeing the older guys, in our churches. And they sit around and swap stories and stuff like that, you know. And it's that camaraderie that they understand each other. But our churches are filled with heroes.
Yes.
All over the place.
So let's not forget them.
Yeah.
Let's honor them and let's put them up on a pedestal a little bit. It sounds like this is something to aspire to. It could really help a lot of our young people coming along today. It's a good thing to look toward.
Yeah.
Well, you've given us a lot to think about.
Listen, if anybody has any idea that they want to do this as a calling, get a hold of me.
Okay.
I'll help you out in any way I can, any branch, even like volunteer chaplains with police departments or hospitals and stuff like that. We support them as well.
Absolutely.
They do it some of them do it on a paid basis, but some of them do it on a volunteer basis. But they're reaching into their community and reaching families and people with the gospel, but also the privilege to help them.
Absolutely.
Even just be a blessing.
Absolutely. So our listeners, you're thinking, maybe you're a pastor, or you're thinking, hey, this is something I could do, or maybe not. Maybe I could do it in my community. What you're saying is a police chaplain, a hospital chaplain, truly does make a difference. It's a way to serve the community. Reach out to
Yes, sir.
Chaplain Terry. He could help you. We could assist you in that way, and we encourage you to do that. And so our listeners, you can always go to the Free Will Baptist North American Ministries website. If you want to track Chaplain Terry down, you can email us at questions@nafwb.org, and we'll do what we can. We'll forward you on to him and try to get you with the resources that you need.
Can I say one more thing?
You can.
Thank you very much to all of our Free Will Baptists out there that supported all of us through these years. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, my friend, for stopping by and being with us today.
It is a great privilege to represent Christ, Free Will Baptist, my family. It's just a privilege. So thank you.
We appreciate you. We appreciate what you have done. We appreciate your service personally and your faithfulness as a chaplain. We so greatly appreciate it. Thank you for what you've done. We appreciate North American Ministries too. And so we want to encourage our listeners, notice it's coming up on the time where you could give to the Free Will Baptist North American Ministries offering. So why don't you set some resources aside? You're helping North American Ministries to plant churches, but they do so much more. They also try to help with the revitalization of churches. They help us in the executive office with the providing counseling for our pastors and their families and so forth. So think about them, and then we encourage you to do what you can to give to Free Will Baptist North American Ministries to their offering, and to do what you can to support our chaplains and our missionaries as they engage in their work. Remember, every little thing we do, it really does matter. We truly are better when we work together. We're better together. Thank you for joining us today.